El Copic is still here. I respect it. Get my likes up. Get my likes up. MT, I respect your music choice there. I would just get copywritten though. But Kanye for life. Big Mike, what up? Babyface Ham, what up? James Alexander. Parker K. Random Gamer 23 still in here. El Copic still in here. David Lopez still in here. Marsha McCollum. Julian. Hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button. Bravo Carlos, what up? Depressed Broncos fan, what up? Naquan. Almoze TV. My big cuz Ramon Marrero, what up? Bootzilla. MT, Richard Buchanan. What is up, my people? Run it back, nation. What is good? It is your boy DJ Eastwood, running back Philly. No frauds, no fanboys, no intros. Before we get into everything, hit the like button on the stream if you're watching it live. Hit the like button if you're watching it after it was live. Just hit the like button, man. I'm up here doing live streams during the game on YouTube and on Playback TV, and giving you the post-game live shows after the game, because I started streaming games and I stopped doing post-game lives. And people were like, what happened to the post-game lives? People like to watch them after. They like to listen to it the next morning when they're driving to work, all that stuff. And I appreciate the love so much. And I said, I can't alienate my people. So I'm doing both. All right? Also, we are on podcast platforms. Apple Podcast, Spotify, every other podcast platform. You can get these post-game live shows after every single Philadelphia 76ers game in beautiful, mastered audio. Thank you to Merkle Media. And watch the game with us on Playback TV, playback.tv/runningbackphilly. All right, let's get down to business. The Philadelphia 76ers beat the LA Clippers 120-110 on the third game of their West Coast road trip. The Sixers have their full roster. They are fully healthy currently. That's nice for us, after going through a month and a half of Harden out and Embiid out, Maxey out, all those things. We're finally in the swing of things. We're finally playing games with everybody, and it feels good. The Clippers were playing without John Wall, but I don't really know how effective he has been this season or at this stage of his career. I was excited for the Sixers to play the Clippers with both Paul George and Kawhi Leonard in the lineup, and that's what happened. The Sixers get the W 120-110, and a couple of things happened that got us there. The first thing I'm going to say, and this might sound crazy to everybody that's been following me for a couple of years now on my coverage of the Philadelphia 76ers. I was impressed with Doc Rivers. I was impressed with Doc Rivers in this game. Did I just say that? All right, so why was I impressed with Doc Rivers? What did Doc Rivers do in this game that he hasn't done all season, or that he's maybe tried to do all season and hasn't worked? What was different? I just felt a different energy. First of all, I do think the Sixers play up to competition. I do think the Sixers, when they play a better team, nationally televised on TNT in LA, I just think they put up more of a fight, and they seem a little bit more engaged and more into the game itself. I think also Doc Rivers maybe coaches up to competition. Whereas, he's playing the Clippers, his former team, the team that fired him. The coach that took his place is coaching on the other side. There's some players on the other side that have said some things about Doc Rivers that probably, lands a little bit of a chip on his shoulder when he's playing his former team with those players. Paul George, one of them, who spoke out against him as a coach. So I do think Doc Rivers comes into a game like this, has a little bit of chip on his shoulder, and wants to outcoach Tyronn Lue, wants to outcoach the coach that took his job in LA. So I think the first thing is that Doc Rivers' lineups in this game ended up being good. I still don't understand exactly what his hate is for Paul Reed. But we just got to deal with it. There's nothing we can do. They didn't get absolutely murdered on the glass in this game. Let's look at the stats here. Let's look at the rebounds. I assumed off the top of my head they didn't get murdered on the rebounds in this game, and they didn't. It was tied 33-33 in the rebound department. The main thing that I was looking for in this game, that I was nervous about while this game was going on, as everything unfolded, heading into the end of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter, because we had, PJ Tucker trying his best, trying his heart out to guard Kawhi Leonard in the beginning of the third quarter. And Kawhi Leonard scored what felt like 25 straight points on him in that third quarter. It was really only like 9, but it was 9 points in like probably 2 minutes. He was just absolutely shredding PJ Tucker in that third quarter. And I was saying to myself, or I was saying out loud to you guys that were watching the game with me, the end of this third quarter lineup into the fourth quarter is going to either make us or break us. I was waiting for that PJ, Montrezl Harrell, George Niang lineup that can't defend the rim. And I was assuming that Paul George and Kawhi Leonard were going to attack us when that lineup came in, and we were going to die in that third. What saved the game was the end of the third lineup with Tyrese Maxey and the bench, and the beginning of the fourth quarter. Hold on, the cat is scratching at the door, as is usual. I swear to God, I'll kill you. Don't you dare scratch to get back in here. I will kill you. I gotta get rid of this cat. He's just old and weird. He's just old and weird. I think he's senile. He doesn't know where he is anymore. He's just like, he's scratching to get outside the room now. But then other nights I start the stream, he scratches to get in the room. What do you want, bro? I gotta get rid of this cat, man. He's old and senile. Anyway, where I think the game was won or was sustained or we survived was the end of the third quarter into the fourth quarter, the Tyrese Maxey show, especially when the fourth quarter started. That was it for us. We were either going to get killed when Joel Embiid goes to the bench, or we were going to survive, and Tyrese Maxey took the bull by the horns. The entire first couple of minutes of that fourth quarter was the Tyrese Maxey show, and it was on and popping, and he just started going nuts. I mean, step back threes, driving and getting his little floater off and getting to the free throw line. He was cooking. Tyrese was cooking. Tyrese Maxey is back, He's back. And, he was out for a month and a half with a fractured foot. Maybe it takes a little bit of time for him to get back into the groove and get things going again. And then moving to the bench is another big change for him, when they said they were moving him to the bench, the first thing I thought was, it's all about the lineups. It's all about staggering, Is he going to be put in a position that's going to take advantage of his skill set? And that lineup at the end of the third into the fourth with Maxey, I think it was Maxey, Shake, Trez, Niang, who else was in there? It wasn't Matisse Thybulle yet. Maybe it was Matisse Thybulle. There's no way this cat's scratching to get back in the room. There's just no way. I will kill you! What do you want? I don't know what you want. That's it. That's the last straw. This cat's gone tomorrow. I'm dropping him off at a farm or something. My God. He's literally meowing right now. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. Anyway, that's the lineup that saved us. The Maxey lineup. End of the third, into the fourth. That's the lineup that saved us. And I'm happy. I'm happy that Maxey's back. I'm happy that he got that run in that part of the game. And it's going to be big for us, moving forward. Richard Buchanan, he did not go with the all-bench lineup. He had Maxey and Harris to start. The fourth was the key run. Yeah, I agree with that. Well, I think the lineup that killed us the last game was Maxey was in there, but it was Maxey, Shake Milton, George Niang, Montrezl Harrell. There was somebody else in there. It was the 5 worst defenders on the team. That killed us in the last game and blew that lead, and then Joel Embiid had to come in and play hero ball, win the game at the end, and all that stuff. But that Maxey time was what saved the game for us. So then he brings James Harden in the game with about 7 minutes left, and what I liked about what James Harden did is, he didn't come in and try to take over the game. He didn't come in and try to impede on, what Tyrese Maxey was doing. He came in the game and he continued, James Harden I'm talking about, he came in the game and he continued to feed Maxey. He just came in the game and continued to feed Maxey, and, it ended up working out for us. And that's why, look, Harden was just passing the ball in this game. Harden had 6 points in the game. He was 1 for 6 from the floor. He was 0 for 4 from 3. Got to the free throw line a couple times, 4 times, but he had 9 assists. And I'm going to talk about Harden in a minute, but Tyrese Maxey was the key to this game. Outside of Joel Embiid, of course, Joel Embiid's the key to the game. Joel Embiid's always going to be the key to the game for this team. But I think the real key, the real difference maker in this game was definitely Tyrese Maxey off the bench for 27 minutes, and especially his minutes in that third quarter into the fourth. It was huge for us. It extended the lead, actually. We were down in the beginning of the third when Kawhi Leonard was cooking PJ Tucker and everybody in sight. That Maxey run extended the lead for us, and we held on to it the rest of the way. Some people in the chat were like, why did he even put Harden in the game? He should have just let Maxey keep cooking all the way to the end of the game. But I think Harden came in and he didn't try to take over. He didn't try to kind of step on Maxey's toes or anything. He really came in the game and tried to help him out, tried to keep feeding him. So I liked what Harden did when he came in. I loved what Tyrese Maxey did in this game. 22 points off the bench in 27 minutes, a plus 23. If you look at the plus minus on the entire roster, Tyrese Maxey is the highest plus minus in this game with a plus 23. 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. But he was 7 for 12 from the floor, 3 for 5 from 3, and 5 for 5 from the free throw line. So amazing game for Tyrese Maxey, 22 off the bench in 27 minutes. Maxey's back. I am impressed with Doc Rivers' lineup decisions in this game. Speaking of his lineup decisions, I mean, he did play George Niang and Montrezl Harrell at the same time in this game again. But I think we did a good job of team defense when they were in the game, right? Not leaving Montrezl Harrell by himself in the paint, not leaving George Niang one-on-one on PJ Tucker or on Paul George or Kawhi Leonard, not leaving George Niang or those guys on those superstar players to get shredded all the way to the rim. We did a good job. Even when Kawhi Leonard was fishing out mismatches, I was screaming at the top of my lungs. I was like, he's fishing out mismatches. He wants George Niang one-on-one. They're running screens to get mismatches, and we were doubling around the screens. We were forcing Kawhi Leonard to get rid of the ball. So I think we did a great job defensively of helping each other and covering up, maybe helping each other cover up our own weaknesses in those lineups, in that situation. When you got Kawhi Leonard on the floor and George Niang out there and Montrezl Harrell out there. So I think we did a great job defensively in that time, and I think Maxey was the key to victory in the third quarter and the beginning of the fourth quarter. Joel Embiid had 41 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 blocks in the game. He was 15 for 18 from the free throw line. He was 2 for 5 from the three-point line. And he was absolutely making Zubac his child. People complain all the time about Joel Embiid's free throws. Oh, he shoots so many free throws. If you watch games, if you just watch games, all you Embiid haters, if you watch games, you'll see Joel Embiid. We kept attacking him. We kept running the pick and roll with James Harden. Am I frozen? We kept attacking Zubac. We kept running the pick and roll with James Harden. We kept attacking Zubac, and we took advantage of their weaknesses. The weaknesses were, it said in the bottom right, OBS disconnected, and then it said OBS reconnected. I don't know what that's about. We took advantage of the mismatches. We were attacking Zubac all night long with Joel Embiid. I thought in crunch time, when a lot of these games, it turns into, us, the Sixers standing around, trying to run the pick and roll against a zone. It turns into a stagnant offense, and then we end up with Joel Embiid just hanging out at the three-point line trying to create offense for the whole team, and it doesn't work out that well because he's not Kevin Durant. He's Joel Embiid. He's a center. I watched the Clippers switch to a zone like I knew they were going to, and I said when they switch to a zone to try to stop the Joel Embiid, James Harden pick and roll, how do we counter the counter? And a couple of times we struggled against that zone in the fourth. And then all of a sudden we started stuffing Joel Embiid under the rim. There's only 2 ways to break a zone. Hit threes or get under the rim. Get under the rim. Straight up get Joel Embiid under the rim. So we start forcing Joel Embiid under the rim. And then, the rest of the game we're spamming the Joel Embiid, James Harden pick and roll, and they can't stop it because James is such a good he's so good at passing the basketball, and Joel getting a full head of steam running right at Ivica Zubac. He's either going to the foul line or he's scoring. So Joel had 41. He had 27 in the first half. We thought he was going for 50. But another just phenomenal performance from Joel Embiid on both sides of the floor. And this is another one that won't be talked about because it's just totally normal for Joel Embiid to do these kinds of things in NBA games. A 41-point performance is totally normal for Joel Embiid. If Anthony Davis scores 41, ESPN has a circle jerk for about a week. Anyway, last thing about Joel Embiid is, we were talking about how sometimes he's lazy on defense, right? And at the beginning of this game, a couple of offensive rebounds Zubac got, a couple of putbacks, a couple of kind of wide open layups where Joel just kind of moved out of the way and didn't try to defend it. And, we know he tries to low manage himself throughout a game. We know he tries to save his legs for the fourth quarter. My dude Abe Link in the chat brought up a good point also that Joel Embiid tries to stay out of foul trouble in the beginning of the game because if he gets in foul trouble early, it really affects the entire team and the rest of the game. So you could, if you really watch that and you really watched how Joel Embiid played defense in the first half versus how he played defense in the second half, I would say that's exactly how it went down. Joel was kind of being passive in the first half. Some dudes were getting some offensive rebounds. Some dudes were getting some wide open layups. And in the second half, he turned it up a notch. Terrence Mann had a layup over Joel Embiid in the first quarter, maybe the second quarter. Somewhere in the first half, there was a layup over Joel Embiid. And I said, Joel didn't even try to defend that. Joel just kind of moved out of the way. He didn't even try to defend that layup. What's going on here? Joel's getting shredded. It was a sequence. Zubac hit like a little pivot foot left-handed floater off the glass, and then Terrence Mann had a layup over him, and I said Joel's getting shredded at the rim. But the second half, Terrence Mann tried to get a layup over Joel Embiid again because he thought shit was sweet. He thought, oh, he let me do this layup in the first half. Here I go again. And Joel pinned it on the backboard. So that's the difference between the first and the second half with Joel Embiid. And we can get frustrated with what he looks like in the first half and not defending the rim. But he really tries to save himself for the fourth. And I think in this game, you could clearly see that that's what he did. That's what he did. James Harden only had 6 points in this game. 6 points, 1 of 6 from the field, 0 of 4 from 3. He made 1 field goal in this game, but he had 9 assists. He was controlling the ball when we needed him to control the ball. He was dropping dimes to Joel Embiid when we needed him to drop dimes to Joel Embiid. I think James Harden, you can look at that stat line and say, wow, James had a horrendous game. But I don't really feel like that was the case. I think watching it back, you might see the Clippers defense paying a lot of attention to James Harden and James doing other things to get the ball out and swing it. He only had 9 assists. He might have had 20 like hockey assists, you know what I mean? Where he makes the kick out and they swing the ball around and things like that. So I think James Harden was affecting the game offensively in a lot of different ways that don't show up on the stat sheet. I didn't even realize he only had 6 points in the game until I looked at the stat sheet. I thought James Harden was doing his thing in this game. I guess I just didn't realize that he wasn't scoring because he was doing so many other things to impact the game positively and defensively. James Harden's been trying on defense this season, and it's been great. James Harden, who has been slandered most of his career for not trying on defense, has been trying on defense, and it's been great, and I love to see it. There was a couple sequences in the fourth quarter where P.J. Tucker came back in the game, which I thought Matisse Thybulle was playing good defense on Kawhi Leonard, and then Doc Rivers put P.J. Tucker back in the game with 5 minutes left, which I feared for my life at that point. I said, no way, he just put P.J. Tucker back in the game. Kawhi Leonard's about to go off and shred us, and Kawhi was looking for mismatches like he was the whole game. And there's a play that I remember specifically. He set a screen for him so he could get a mismatch on Harden. And Harden, I think, played better defense on Kawhi Leonard than P.J. Tucker did. And forced him into a very difficult fadeaway jump shot from the free throw line. So shout out to James Harden for being the game manager that he was in this game. Getting the ball to Joel, spamming the pick and roll. Kicking the ball out to open three-point shooters, playing defense, putting clamps on Kawhi Leonard in the fourth quarter. And when Maxey was running in that third quarter and James Harden came in, he didn't really try to steal his shine. He didn't really come in and try to be the man. He came in and wanted to continue to give him the ball and put him in spots to score. So I think James is playing a very mature basketball game at this point of his career, and it just makes everybody on the floor better. That's how I feel about James in this game. What else I got to say? Tobias Harris had a quiet 20 points. Tobias Harris is just a guy. He's just a guy. He's just there. But he had a very efficient game. Hit a couple of huge shots when we needed them. Was quick trigger on the three. Was confident with it. He was 8 for 12 from the floor. He was 2 for 4 from the three-point line. He was a plus 10 from the field. He had 6 rebounds and 6 assists. Anytime Tobias Harris is in the assist column at all, I'm impressed. So I really enjoyed what Tobias Harris did in this game too. Defensively, I think he was getting cooked on the perimeter a lot when he would get stuck on Kawhi Leonard or Paul George. But sometimes there was no help behind him and they just went straight to the rim. But he did have 5 steals in this game. Is that a career high for Tobias Harris? 5 steals? That might be a career high for Tobias Harris to have 5 steals. What else, man? DeAnthony Melton, 20 minutes, 5 points. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see a whole lot from DeAnthony Melton in this game, but I don't think we needed him to do a whole lot. George Niang had 9 points. He was 3 for 4 from the 3-point line. He was a plus 18, and George Niang hit a couple of massive threes when we needed him the most. You know, when they were running that zone, trying to take away the Harden and Embiid pick and roll, you need that guy. You need that George Niang on the floor that can catch the ball and hit that big shot and make the defense pay for rotating. You know what I mean? Because it's a simple game. It is, and you're just with James Harden and Joel Embiid, you're just running a pick and roll to make the defense adjust and make the defense overhelp. That's all you're doing. If they overhelp on Harden, he's hitting Joel on the roll. And if you don't help on Joel and it's just Zubac under there, he's scoring or getting fouled every single time. So then the defense has to adjust. Harden to Embiid on the roll. Now the weak side man has to crash to try to help out Zubac, and Embiid hits the skip pass to George Niang, and he hits a three. Yeah, you need that guy on the floor. And Joel has gotten very good in his career at hitting that skip pass, you know, when the defense helps over. And there was 2 times that stick out to me that, you know, the defense over rotated. They were like, all right, now we got to take this Joel Embiid roll game away. And he kicked it over to George Niang, who hit a three. Bang, bang, Niang. We rested our guys with only 2 minutes and 40-some seconds left, up by 17, which still kind of scared me. You know, the way this team blows leads, I thought, hey, we could still blow this lead. We didn't blow the lead. You know, we kept it going. Furkan Korkmaz came in the game. Made my eyes bleed a little bit, but at least Furkan Korkmaz is only getting in NBA games now when there's a minute and 30 seconds left and it's already over, and we can kind of laugh every time he scores the ball. You know, Euro, fadeaway floater, whatever he does. Daniel House Jr. came in the game with a minute left. At least Doc Rivers and the staff has finally realized that Daniel House Jr. absolutely stinks. Remember how many minutes he was getting early, bro? Remember how many minutes he was getting at the beginning of the season? So as the season goes on, Doc, Sam, and the whole coaching staff are slowly learning, you know, things that I thought were kind of obvious. Get Daniel House up out of here. He has no offensive game. He can't play defense at all. What does he do at all? You know, Matisse Thybulle. Matisse Thybulle's a tough one. You know, Irk Barkley. Thanks for the question, man. How come Thybulle didn't play first half? Matisse Thybulle's a tough one, man. Because I'm always going to be stuck on this. Matisse Thybulle has value in the NBA. And other NBA teams wanted to trade for him this past offseason. And every time I say we should trade a player, people always say, you know, the haters always say, or whoever always says, you know, you always want to trade our players. You always want to get rid of our guys. You always want to. We're not playing him. We're not using him. Why would you keep a player that has value around the league that you're not using and you don't plan to use? Doc Rivers is not using Matisse Thybulle. They are not developing Matisse Thybulle. They are not even trying to develop Matisse Thybulle. There's nothing happening with the Sixers and Matisse Thybulle. They should have traded him in the offseason, like I said they should have. And they should probably definitely trade him at the trade deadline because he has value. He's a great defender. Other teams don't really know that he's as bad as he is on offense. So we can sneak one in there. You know, we can sneak one in there, man. You know what I mean? Let's go. We can sneak one in there. I thought Montrezl Harrell played a good game for the backup center minutes that he got. That first half when he came in, they were cooking us around the rim, as is usual when Trez comes in. He tries hard, but he can't defend the rim that well. But I guess he didn't get as cooked as I thought he was gonna get cooked. If I was the Clippers, I would have attacked the rim more when those Niang Trez lineups were in there. Paul Reed, it's funny, Paul Reed wins the backup center minutes last year in the playoffs. We start the season. I don't know. Did we start the season playing Paul Reed at backup center? I don't even remember. It's such a blur now. But I feel like he won the job again at some point, and Montrez was hardly getting any run. And then he had one bad game, and Doc decided Montrez won the bet. Yeah, that is what happened. Because I remember Doc saying it in a press conference that basically Paul Reed won the backup center minutes, and then he decided that that's not happening anymore, and Trez is now the backup center. And then the one game when we were playing without Joel Embiid and PJ Tucker, Glenn plays Paul Reed at a large majority of minutes. I want to say 20 minutes or more. And he had 16 points, 12 rebounds, and 8 offensive rebounds in an NBA game. And then PJ comes back, and Embiid comes back, and Paul Reed is back to the very end of the bench. And for those of you that constantly come at me and say, why do you love Paul Reed so much? He's terrible. You're misconstruing what I'm saying about Paul Reed. I don't think Paul Reed is an amazing basketball player. I don't think Paul Reed is going to win a game for you. I don't think it's like, oh my God, we have nothing going for us. We got to put Paul Reed in. It's not what I'm saying. When you're getting shredded at the rim and you're getting destroyed on the rebounds, you put Paul Reed in the game. He fouls a lot, but guess what? He's a high energy, 6'9", can block shots, and he's one of the best rebounders per 36 in the entire NBA. But I'm not going to sit here and complain about the anti-Paul Reed thing forever because Doc hates him. He's never going to play him. We just got to live with it. But I liked, mostly what happened in this game and what happened with the lineups. And I guess the Clippers are kind of frauds, man. Are the Clippers, are they going to do anything? They're just going to rest all their players and then try to, assume that like, oh, we'll be all right. We'll be okay when the playoffs come around. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. Anybody want to call the show, man? It is 1:19 a.m. on the East Coast. The phone number's on the bottom left. If you're awake, if you got some energy, if you got some things to talk about, if you want to throw a point out there, if you want to throw a topic out there, if you want to say anything about the Sixers and this Clippers game, there's the phone number right there on the bottom left, 951-981-7683. If you just have me on your TV or your phone or your laptop as you are asleep or almost asleep or kind of asleep and you don't want to call the show, as very much understood also. We got one. We got one from the 610, man. We got one from the 610. And as soon as the little intro drops, I'll get you in here. 219 people in here, man. Hit the like button for me. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. I'm really happy with the turnout tonight with the game being as late as it was. Happy with the turnout for how many people were in the stream. And I'm happy with the turnout for how many people are here for the post-game live, man. So hit the like button for me. I appreciate you. And call from Norristown, PA. What's going on, man? What's up, man? How's it going? Yeah, get your money, man. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like when they was, remember they preached, they said, oh, Jay Springer, he was like, yeah, they said he was gonna get me in the game, and it's just his chance to prove what he got. Like, you know what I'm saying? I still question our player development to this day. So
Yeah.
it's like our player development it needs to be way better. That who gets paid the most scheme is not working no more, and I'm getting tired of it. It's I'm tired of our players leaving, going somewhere else. Isaiah Joe shooting what 69% from 3-point.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's just Doc Rivers, man. That ain't gonna change. That ain't gonna change as long as Doc is here. You know, we might. Once Doc is gone, that might change. Now my camera froze. I'm having all kinds of technical difficulties now, man. Damn. Yeah, that's just something. I'm just living with it now. You know, the player development thing is crazy, but it's just never gonna change with Doc Rivers. It is how he is. It's how he's been his whole career.
Right.
But yeah, Harden makes everybody better, man. And Harden, you know, feeding Niang and the way he came in the third quarter and continued to feed Tyrese Maxey and didn't really take any of his shine away or anything like that. I loved it. How do you feel about Tyrese Maxey coming off the bench? Were you with it at first, or were you like, nah?
I was just mainly hoping it was like a smooth transition thing temporarily, him coming back from injury. I don't want to say I don't hope that's permanent decision. Like, I just think I don't know if they just wanted to put a full workload on him coming right back from injury, just ease him into the rotation. But
well, they brought him back. They brought him off the bench when he first came back from injury, but that was only like 1 or 2 games, and then he was in the starting lineup, and then he kind of struggled in the starting lineup, and then they put him back to the bench.
Yeah, that's why I said I didn't think they wanted to put the full workload on him them couple games that they started him.
Yeah.
So I think that's why they was like, let's just ease him in. That way he can see what's going on and get a feel for where he need to fill in at. So, I hope so. I mean, because we know he's a walking 25-30 piece, on any given time.
Yeah, he is.
I had a question for you, though. What do you think about Doc needing to work on his adjustments towards younger athletic teams with our lineup, before we get to the playoffs?
I mean, Doc is just Doc, man. He's gonna play the players that he likes. He always has played the players that he likes. He never looks at a stat sheet. He never looks at an analytics sheet. He's never gonna look at a plus minus or a rebound percentage or whatever and say this player's getting shredded. I need to get him out of there. I don't even know if he knows that analytics exists. And I'm not an analytics guy at all, but he's anti-analytics guy. He's always going to play just who he thinks is more experienced. He always has. He's been fired from a couple of teams literally for doing that.
Right.
And he's just going to continue to do it. I mean, we're going to see we had to bully him into playing Paul Reed against the Toronto Raptors in the playoffs. And he did it, and it worked. Yeah. And he wouldn't admit that it worked, and it worked because you had to put an athletic backup center in there because they were getting murdered on the boards. If I had to guess, we're gonna get into the playoffs, first or second round, and Doc's gonna kill us. Basically, he's gonna do something. We're gonna be getting killed on the boards probably, and he's gonna be refusing to adjust, and it's gonna continue. I don't see Doc changing the way that he coaches a team in year 24 or whatever it is. I don't see it. I'm happy with this game. I'm happy with what he did with this game, but I'm not gonna act like this game changed my opinion of Doc Rivers. It still exactly. Is what it is.
But see, the thing with Doc Rivers, what pisses me off with Paul Reed, yeah, we know he has a foul problem, but you can't just say, he got in and did it again. Get him out. Like, no. Like, you know what I'm saying? Let him learn on the fly. It's like a kid that you keep in the house all day. He don't know how to act in public. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, let him get out there and play and learn how to, if his defense is just a little bit too timid, it's like, because he don't have a feel for the game because he's not in as much. So it's like watching, like, him trying to like be a step ahead of player movement, like whether he's going to go left, right, like, you know what I'm saying, or how to get his footing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to let him learn that on the fly. Like, you just can't panic and say, 3 fouls, he's doing it again, take him out. Like, come on, man, it's getting corny.
Yeah, and you said Isaiah Joe earlier. It's the same thing with Isaiah Joe. Joe hardly got in. He didn't get enough time to really get comfortable and even learn how to play to his best ability in the NBA. Doc would put him in for like 4 minutes and then wouldn't play him for 2 weeks and then would put him in for like 2 minutes. He just doesn't give players opportunities at all. And it's just who he is. He's not going to develop any young players. He's not going to do that. They have to be, he has to have players who are playoff ready, who are experienced, and who can get the job done right now, for you to win with Doc Rivers. If the Sixers have that, they might have that. I think that's what Daryl Morey tried to do this season. I really think what he did this offseason was partly because he knew Doc's only going to play a certain type of player. So he went and got all the old guys.
Yeah, that's true. And I think Maxey took it upon himself, and it was rare. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when he made his life debut, like, but that was only because he unleashed them against what the Hawks, whoever we was playing.
Yeah, it was
Tyrese Maxey started.
Yeah, he came off the bench against the Hawks, and he had a great game. And then Doc played George Hill in Game 7, so he was like, "Fuck you, I don't care." Yeah, seriously, that's what happened. And then the next season, Ben Simmons refused to play, so he had to play Maxey. So I don't give Doc credit for developing Tyrese Maxey. He was forced to do it. I don't even think Maxey would be what he is right now if Ben wanted to stay here. But anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true. And I'd be like, dang, why is DJ so hard on Furkan? Because I'm like, now when Ben was here, you can't deny there's plenty of games that Furkan had more heart and production than Ben Simmons on that floor sometimes. Oh,
Furkan has mega heart, man. He believes he's a superstar. He thinks he's unstoppable. He thinks he's the Turkish Michael Jordan, man. I just don't think he's good. I never question his confidence. Yeah, I never question his confidence. He's out. He thinks he's a superstar, man. People think he's trolling when he takes pictures of himself. No, he's serious. He thinks he's a superstar.
I just think his breakout games, like them games when he'll just have like a 25 or 28. I think they left when Brett Brown left, but
man, that's crazy.
I'm like,
that's crazy. Man, that's crazy. Furkan's been here.
He only got those. Yeah, he only got those opportunities because Ben was so passive.
Yep.
And he used to be dead out from 3-point, but it's like now with Doc rotation, is no way. I don't think Furkan could survive in Doc's rotation at all.
Yeah, I think Furkan experiment is over, man. I think it is. I think they're going to trade him at the deadline just because of the money. I think he has 2 years left or a year left at like $5 million or something like that. I think he's going to get traded just for cap space, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's crazy that we paid PJ Tucker millions to show us how to use an elliptical.
That's another one, man. And that's another player that we have to hope he's good. We have to hope he's good in the playoffs because Doc is going to play him 100%. He's going to play PJ Tucker.
That's what I'm waiting for because I know that's what everybody's banking on. Like I guess like the dormant PJ Tucker right now is okay. Like, but once playoff time comes, man, he better be the most defensive beast I ever seen because if not, then that's what everybody been waiting on. So if that doesn't happen,
right?
I don't know. I don't even know what to say.
I think the end of the fourth quarter of this game, PJ Tucker was a dog, man. You know, he came in, and I was scared because he was getting cooked by Kawhi Leonard in the beginning of the third. Then he came in the 5-minute mark in the fourth, and I was like, oh my God, PJ Tucker's in against Kawhi Leonard. We're done. But he actually held his ground, and I think we did a good job of helping him out on him. And Harden played good defense too. So we'll see, man.
Right. I just miss the corner 3-point shooter of PJ Tucker. It's like, where is that going?
Yeah, he
was money from that corner. He used to be money.
He was. He hit 2 of them in this game, but he's been pretty bad this year. He's been pretty bad this year so far.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're going to see.
All right, bro. Hey, thank you for calling the show, man.
Appreciate you, man. I'll see you guys later.
Yeah, bro. Have a good night at work.
I got you, man.
Yeah, shout out to Norristown, PA. Yeah, I had I forgot to hit my USB mix button when I first took the call, so I was talking to nobody for like a good minute. It's 1:30 a.m. and I'm trying to run a podcast, and then my camera froze at the same time. Which, by the way, I finally figured out. I knew it was one of two things. My camera's freezing because of the power cord that I have in it, so I need to buy a new one. I need to remember to buy a new one. I need to go order one right now on Amazon. I need to make sure I have the right one. But yeah, and my cat is an asshole. Yeah, so, but hey, thanks for tuning into the post-game live, everybody. I appreciate everybody in here. 200 people in here listening to me ramble about a Sixers win in January at 1:33 a.m. You're all crazy. But we're all crazy, man.